about Chicago style formatting. Sometimes it's also called Turabian style. Um, and this is often used in the history discipline. So since, this is a 102 class with a history concentration, I like to just kind of introduce the Chicago format. I know that for many of you, it might be just a totally new citation format. Don't worry if you don't feel like you have 100% grasp on it by the end of the class. But, I want to at least touch on it a little bit. But like all citation formatting, there's a learning curve. It's kind of an evolving process, but I want to just at least introduce you guys to the main aspects of it. In a lot of ways, it's more intuitive than MLA format, so I actually like it a little bit better. And in a lot of ways, it's pretty similar to MLA formatting. So I'm just going to kind of emphasize for you guys the aspects that are different. The main difference is that Chicago style uses footnotes. Okay, so instead of using parenthetical citations, like when you have a direct quote after it having the source in parentheses, with Chicago style, you will have a footnote. Okay, so another difference is that it has a title page. Okay, so with MLA, you put the title and the endorsement at the top of your essay. Chicago style, you'll have it on a separate page at the beginning. Your title will be centered a third of the way down. A few lines later, you'll endorse it with your name, class information, all of that. And you double space everything on the title page. Okay, and there's a sample essay that you can look at on Blackboard. It's actually in a couple different places. I put it in the drop boxes, I put it in the citation resources folder, and I put it in the samples folder. So should be easy to find. Okay, so titles are treated the same as an MLA. Long works in italics, short works in quotes, right? So books, magazines, newspapers, italicized. Shorter works like articles, short stories, poems in quotation marks. There's something called block quotations, where if you are using a very long direct quote, you want to set it off from the rest. So here, if I said, as David Foster Wallace says of consumerism in his piece Consider the Lobster, then I have this long direct quote. So you'll see that I indented it, I made it one font size smaller, and I didn't put it in quotation marks. So that's a block quote. Then there's also this little superscript number, which shows you that there's going to be a footnote. We'll talk about that. The footnotes and the references to the footnotes go within the main body of your essay, meaning that at the bottom of every page where you use an outside source, there will be footnotes, and you'll see these little superscript numbers everywhere that you use an outside source. Okay? Footnotes alert the reader that there's going to be a citation at the bottom. They're different than endnotes. Okay, so endnotes are when you have all of the citations at the end of the essay rather than at the bottom of each page. But it's different from the bibliography or works cited because they correspond with the superscript numbers. Again, when I say superscript, I just mean like this little number here. So it's a little different than the works cited or bibliography. Chicago style, you can use footnotes or endnotes, but footnotes tend to be easier. You don't have to be flipping back and forth from, the page that you're reading to the end of the essay. So we are just going to use footnotes, okay? So keep it simple. We're just going to use footnotes. So the citation numbers are superscripted, and they always begin from the number 1, okay? So the citation numbers are listed slightly above the line. So like you'll see here, this is like smaller than just a regular 2, and it's up above the line. And I'm going to show you guys how to superscript. Most word processing programs just have a function where you can add footnotes, so it's actually, kind of does it for you. The numbers should be at the end of the sentence that you're referring to and placed after all the punctuation, right? So kind of like an MLA format, right? So we have the end quote here, but you want to also have the superscript come after the period. So that's a little different. When you have parenthetical citations, it goes end quote, parenthetical citation, then period at the end. Here, you have this superscript number after all the punctuation. The numbers in the footnote can be full size or superscripted. This is probably going to just depend on the program that you're using. Sometimes if you click insert footnote, it will automatically make like a little number in your text and then a little number at the bottom where you can write your footnote. If it doesn't automatically write a little number for you at the bottom, you just type it. So it can just be a normal sized 1 and then just put a period after it. Okay, so I'm going to show you a sample text with footnotes. Okay, so here I have a direct quote. Democracy must be something more than 2 wolves and a sheep voting on what to have for dinner. So here I have a superscript, right? So this is number 4, so that means that it's the 4th source or 4th reference that I've used. And then I just look down at the bottom and I have the citation for it, okay? And unlike an MLA format where you would just use one small part of the citation, like a last name or a title of an article, you have more information. This is basically like a whole citation entry for your footnote, okay? So then we have some more. Okay, now we have our next superscript after this quote, 5. All right, so again, I have basically the whole citation entry here, okay, just at the bottom. So the superscript 5 corresponds with this 5 here, and this is the citation. And then my last one at the end of this quote, 6, right here, I used the same source. So I